My name is Catherine Oviatt. I work in the area of early learning for Horizon School Division. I'm here to share with you some of the learning that I have been doing lately, some of which I wish I'd known when I was a young mother raising my own children, and some of which has been reaffirming as I reflect on that often challenging parenting experience. I hope you will find both through this series, things that let you know you're doing just fine, and some things that you can think about that perhaps you had not considered yet. As a mother of 5 children and grandmother of 10, and also a teacher of over 25 years, these are the takeaways from my years of experience and the teaching of the experts in the field. These are not my own ideas, but have some reflections mixed in with what I have learned since my journey began with the birth of my first child 37 years ago. I'm calling this first episode in this series The Power of Showing Up. This comes from the book The Power of Showing Up by Daniel Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson. I think it is beneficial to begin from where we are at. None of us are in the same place. Perhaps you are feeling very safe and secure right now, or at least that is what your neighbors see. Perhaps you are not as okay, but you are feeling maxed out in energy, stress, or time. Or perhaps you're feeling extreme stress for whatever reason. Job security is always a huge stress during times like these, and health concerns for yourself or your family, close friends, or perhaps the concern is around the state and the uncertainty of the world. As I have learned in my life, regardless of what is happening around me, parenting doesn't change. So what I am offering in this first session is applicable to this time of transition and change, but is also just as applicable when things are not as stressful, or even when they're joyful. When our children are born, we may have had a perception of what parenting was going to be. Sometimes life creates circumstances where that concept is difficult to recall. Daniel Siegel reminds us that parenting is the hardest job in the world. We also know that when things are tough, we actually do our best teaching. Unfortunately, it is also the time where sometimes we may be at our worst. What we teach our children now will impact their social and emotional ability to thrive throughout their lives. The good news is, showing up matters. Being in the room and physical space of our children is one of the most important things we can do. If we just show up over and over and over, we will create the bond with our children. They will know that they can count on us to be there, regardless of what is happening. Being present is also having an open awareness of what is happening when it is happening, being in the moment. Sometimes the timing of those moments is not always linear or the best time for us. So showing up and being present in the moment is the first and most important thing you can do. So it really matters that we show up. It also matters what happens while we're there and in the moment. There are 4 S's of things that we should consider. The first thing that our children need from us is to be seen. This moves beyond noticing that they are there in a visual sense, but seeing them on the inside. What is it that makes them them? Their emotions, their memories, their ways of thinking. And it also means valuing those pieces of them. It means feeling felt, like the other person really gets you and knows everything about you and accepts you anyway. It also means looking beyond the behavior and seeing the child as they really are on the inside. Feeling felt means that we don't expect our children to be smaller versions of ourselves. They have their own set of experiences and ways of processing information that may be different than ours. It means checking in and really listening, including paying attention to what their body is saying, in addition to their words. It also means listening and learning about their special interests. This can often be hard, as children are often not ready to move on when we feel we may have saturated the topic. But this is a time to get curious and figure out what is it that makes these things interesting to them, and what is it that they like about them. The second S is that children need to feel soothed. I think of soothing as what happens when someone is fragmented, upset, sad, or broken. It means putting something broken back together. In order to take someone from a fragmented to an integrated or calm state, we need to pay attention to where the child is at, to see them, and then behave in ways that help them to feel better. If we do this, we can help them build the circuitry of skills to self-regulate when we are not there to help. We can only do this if we are in a state of integration or calm and receptiveness ourselves. So how can we do this? When a child is in a state of distress, we want to help them move through it. We don't want to diminish it or dismiss it, but help them to experience it and be seen in that moment. We need to be willing to go there with them and help them through it. One way to do this is to name it or label it. So you might say, I've noticed that you're upset, or I can see that you're frustrated. And of course, being in a good space yourself will often be all the child needs to feel soothed in that moment. In addition to being seen and soothed, safe is the third S that children need. You will know your child feels safe because they are both free from things such as danger, harm, or pain, but also free to explore, try new things, and take risks. When we think of safety, we immediately think of being protected from harm. But tied to that is the thought that we might actually be the source of fear for the child. Not the obvious source that we consider, such as abuse or neglect, but sometimes our anger, our stress, or anxiety that is acted out can be the source of fear, or as Daniel Siegel says, terror for a child. The key is to slow things down, both for you and your child, and to help your child co-regulate. The 3 S's we have discussed so far are critical for children when we show up. They need to be seen, soothed, and safe. If we are able to do this, even some or most of the time, we will set children in a good place for the final S, feeling secure. This secure attachment is a critical thing that children need to be resilient through times of crisis. Research will tell you that children who transcend the most difficult of circumstances have one secure attachment in their life, at least one. Helping children to take risks and try new challenges and then return to you as their secure attachment is a skill that will serve them throughout their lives. Allowing children to go out and explore things in the world, new things even in your own home, will add to that skill set that they will need. The other 3 combined, feeling seen, soothed, and safe, will result in that secure attachment, or the 4th S. What we need to remember is that parenting is not a course that you get a diploma for. We get to mess up. We get to not be perfect. We get to be distressed. We get to feel stress. But we also have an opportunity to repair it. When we are not our best selves, we can recognize it and acknowledge that there is no such thing as perfect parenting. The most important thing to do is to take a breath and be kind to yourself. We seem to think that parenting is a one-way to do it practice, but this is not true. It is a learn-as-you-go practice. The important thing is that when we mess up, we can fix it and restore that secure attachment. As we go through this difficult time together with our children, knowing that right now it feels like Bill Nye says that the world is on fire as a burning house might be, as we experience this transition time in the world, know that our families are going through this with us. If we are able to remain present, to ensure that children are seen, soothed, safe, and secure, we will see them through this crisis and any other crisis they face in their lives, and help them to emerge with resiliency, with all of the things that we want our children to experience and remember through childhood. Memories of their happy, playful, joyful, and creative life as a child. Take it from a grandmother that while often the days are long, the time is short. Thank you for sharing this episode with me. My hope is that this in some way reaffirms the things you are already doing and may give you some things to remember or think about. The good news is that showing up matters. So congratulations, you won the prize the day when your child took their first breath. And the good news is that the journey is not over and we have lots of do-over chances.